Welcome back to the Buckhouse Podcast, the realest podcast. Welcome back to the Buckhouse Podcast, the realest podcast on the planet, where we dive into marriage, motivation, social media, and everyday struggles that no one likes to talk about. No filters, just the truth. I am your host, Benjamin Buckhouse, and today it's just me, Benjamin Buckhouse. Normally, we're joined with Johnathan Buckhouse, my co-host, my brother, who, if you did not know, Johnathan and I started a YouTube channel together about, we're getting up there. 9 years ago, it's cruising. 9 years ago, we started a YouTube channel together where we were snowboarding and vlogging at the same time, yada yada. He does that as his full-time job now, and right now he's actually in Oregon. He just finished up his snowboard camp, so he's out in Oregon with his family, with his wife and daughter and son, and he's doing some amazing content out there, but he's also living in a camper, so that makes filming these podcasts just not very realistic. So that's why I am doing a solo podcast today, so I hope you guys enjoy what I have to say today. Today, how do I want to explain this? So when Johnson and I do a podcast, we don't have talking points. We don't ever have like a checklist of things that we're going to talk about. Very rarely do I have like a thought that I want to talk about, such as Johnson and I are doing a book club. So you guys are more than welcome to join. The links are going to be down below. Our current book is called The 4-Season Solution. And there's a talking point in this that I'm not going to ruin, but there's a talking point in this that I want to talk to Johnathan about when he gets the chance. But we don't talk about it outside of the podcast. We talk about it only in the podcast. So when we have the opportunity, I will bring this up with him. And I did something like that with our last book, The 10X Rule. One of my favorite books of all time so far. I highly recommend this book. Once again, link down below. So if you guys are interested, please go check out this book. It's about putting in 10X effort to get the goals and dreams you have. But there was a point in here that I really wanted to ask Johnathan about. So, we talked about it on the podcast, stuff like that. But overall, we don't really have kind of talking points or plans or anything like that. But for today with a solo podcast, since this is actually only the second time I've done one of these, I wouldn't say I came up with talking points, but I had kind of a theme that I felt like I could talk about for about 30 minutes with you guys. That's about what we're going to do today. So for starters, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever it may be. I'm happy that you guys are here. I really do appreciate you guys listening. So please, if you guys are interested, please drop a like, a subscribe, a comment, whatever it may be. Join the conversation down below. I would love to hear from you guys. With this solo podcast, though, I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on a lot of the changes I'm making in my life. I've talked a lot about it in the podcast in general, of just kind of some motivational changes I'm making, some daily changes, some dietary changes, things like that. And I just want to dive deeper into that, right? So as of lately, my wife and I, Kirsty, have had amazing news. For starters, we got approved for a new apartment, which I wasn't necessarily worried about getting approved for an apartment. We humbly have good credit scores, things like that. We're responsible and we make more than enough to afford these apartments that we're applying for. So, I wasn't necessarily worried about getting approved. But what I am thankful for is that we found an apartment that fits our needs and desires. And so that was something that was very, it was a really big blessing. So we're moving to what we would consider to be a nicer part of the area, like a nicer area. It's not too far from where we're at, but nicer area. And then also a overall bigger place, about a 300 square foot upgrade, which is awesome. And then so far, the amenities, which is a big thing for us, that's why we actually stayed with apartments. The amenities are much nicer than where we're at right now. So we actually have access to 2 year-round pools. That's right, year-round pools. That's going to be super exciting. We live in Colorado, so that's a little interesting, right? Who's going to be going to the pool in the sun or in the winter? But for instance, right now, our outdoor pool at our current complex is just not open. It normally opens around Memorial Day, which was a little over a month ago. Oh, I don't even know, almost a month ago. and our pool's not open. It's not even filled up or anything like that. And there's been no communication. So that's a bummer. That today was a beautiful day. Today was like sunshine, no clouds with 90-degree weather. It's beautiful. We would love to be around the pool, but there's no pool for us to be around, right? So, having nicer amenities, the gym there looks amazing. So we're super excited about that. And then the other thing though is that it's on like the base floor, which is going to be super or a huge blessing for us because stairs aren't necessarily a problem for us. We currently live on the second floor of a building, so we have to go upstairs, and it is what it is, right? Moving is a little fun, or doing moving your groceries is a little fun, but at the end of the day, like at least in our situation, there's no one above us, so we don't have to worry about footsteps above us, things like that, right? So there's a blessing and a curse, or there's blessings and curses behind things like that. But the big thing is Shadow. Shadow's a dog that I have. Shadow used to be Johnathan's dog, my brother, and so you guys have, if you guys followed us through our YouTube journey, you know who Shadow is, and you have seen him and things like that. Well, Shadow's gonna be 12. I want to say, I can't remember exactly how old he is. I want to say he's gonna be 12 this year, this summer actually, in about a month. And he's a Australian cattle dog, Australian Shepherd mix. I looked more into it, so I believe that that's his actual mix. Anyway, Shadow's a really good dog, and I love him so much, but his joints have been bothering him quite a bit lately, and so when we're going up the stairs, sometimes he slips and he falls a little bit, and it sucks to see that. It sucks to experience that. So, getting him to a situation where we deal with less stairs is ideal. So it's been a huge blessing to find something like that. And then same thing with our other dog, who's already 12. Frankie, he doesn't have as many joint issues, but and he's a little puppy. He's a little Pomeranian Chihuahua mix, whatever. But as our dogs are getting older, it'd be kind of nice for them not to have to deal with the stairs as much. So, to find this place in a still good area, like not too far from where we're at, but a nicer, safer area, and then also to have nicer amenities and have more space and a more just upgraded feeling, right? Our apartment complex has been around for probably 20, 30 years, maybe close to 30, I want to say, maybe even like 35 years it's been around. So it's a little bit older of a complex. And then this newer place, I want to say it's been built within the last 10 years, if not sooner. So, it's just overall newer. So it has, an open floor concept, right? The kitchen is open to the living room. It has an in-home washer and dryer, in-unit washer and dryer, which is huge for us considering our current place has a shared washer and dryer for the complexes, or for all the apartments in our building. And I actually am doing laundry as we speak, and with it, it's just really inconvenient to have to do. But on top of that, they increased the price. It's $2 to do it. It used to be $1.50, and then literally within this last week, apparently they upped it to $2. So 50 cents increase, which gets expensive. It gets expensive when we're doing. I forget the math that we did. What we're doing, I forget the math. We were doing maybe like 15 loads of laundry or something like that, 15, 20 loads of laundry in a month. And so, that adds up. And the other thing is, like, as I'm walking to go put my laundry in, my neighbor was walking out to do her laundry. Well, guess what? I'm beating her to the laundry. So she's got to wait, right? That's a big inconvenience. So super stoked to have our own washer and dryer, slightly bigger fridge, a much bigger kitchen for more space and things like that. So we're super excited about this. And, with it, I've kept this on the lowdowns for pretty much my entire family. So this is the first that they'll be hearing about it as they listen to this podcast. But I actually got a new job. That's right. I got a new job. And I know that that's like job number 25, exaggerating there. But anyways, I've jumped around jobs quite a bit, and I'm not the happiest about that. But there's a vision I have right now. There's a big vision I have, and things are finally like getting pieced together. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more here soon. But I got a job as a car salesman here in Colorado Springs, and I am super excited. I'm super excited for the potential it's going to bring for Kirsty and I, and the things that we want to do and the goals that we have. And with that, it comes with like more finances, right? So I'm super excited, and it's been a blessing. And I'm going to say I'm nervous. Like, I'm excited, right? I'm excited, and I know that it's going to be hard, and I know I'm going to be putting in a lot of work, but I'm ready for that. And I feel like I'm in a great situation for this. So there's been just a lot of changes in my life in the background, along with also still working my 40-hour week, and then on top of that, still making shorts for for the podcast and still podcasting as well. An area in my life that's been kind of dwindling a little bit was the gym. If you guys remember, I did that 75 hard at the beginning of the year, 75 days straight of 2 workouts, eating a diet, reading 10 pages of a book, taking a photo every day, all that fun stuff, right? It's a pretty intense, regime. But with that, you know, I was on a super strict system, and then when it stopped, I then went super the opposite. I was super rebellious about my expectations for myself, and so I've actually not been going to the gym as much. But something that Kirsty and I have been debating for a while was actually changing gyms. So I was going to Planet Fitness, and I'm not going to talk down to Planet Fitness at all. I think that Planet Fitness is great for your average person or even your intermediate person. I think that the Planet Fitness is great. And I don't hate it as much as your average gym rat or anything like that. But Kirsty and I have been debating trying out a new gym in our area called Vasa. It's been around for a couple of years now, but a newer gym called Vasa, and just kind of consolidating our memberships. I had Planet Fitness. She had something called Orange Theory. So just consolidating down to Vasa was kind of our goal. And with it, it's been like a change of environment. And the other thing is that we used to be going to the gym separately in the morning. Now we're going to be going to the gym together. So now we have like each other to rely on, right? Like it's not actually that she can go to the gym without me and I can go to the gym without her. But because there's that person that's like going to be going to the same gym, we drive together and everything, it's like a little bit more accountability. So it's kind of a strategy of like a new environment, but also having like more of an accountability on each other to go to the gym. So yeah, that was a change that we did. It was kind of a strategic change. And overall, the gym is nicer than a Planet Fitness, has a lot more equipment, a lot more different equipment. So we're super excited. That was kind of a thing that we're doing. But anyways, lots of changes. And I've also become I want to say obsessed with reading, right? Right now we're reading The 4 Seasons Solution. This book is slightly different than what I was expecting, but it still is really cool. It talks a lot about just fixing your life, your routines, the way that you feel on a day-to-day basis, fixing your sleep, fixing your digestive problems, things like that. Talks about switching to like a whole food diet, but also kind of working with the way that the sun works, right? Your circadian rhythm of waking up when the sun comes up and going to bed when the sun goes down, or eating certain foods during those hours of the day where the sun is up and the sun is down, or also eating different types of foods based off of the climate outside. During the winter, you really shouldn't be eating as many fruits because, thousands, or did I say thousands, hundreds of years ago, you couldn't be eating those fruits and vegetables during the winter because they weren't growing. And so your body isn't necessarily adapted or evolved to be eating that type of stuff. So it's a really good book. And I honestly have just been obsessed with like reading and educating myself. I haven't finished the book or anything. I think I'm about the halfway mark, which we're about halfway through the month. So that works out. But realistically, I should be like closer to being done with the books. So what have I been doing? Well, I had to do an exam for my sales license to be able to sell vehicles, and that exam was it's a lot, 60 questions, and yes, it's open book, but the questions change and they change the wording and they're not the same and all this stuff. So like you have to prepare for anything. I was studying a lot for that, which is good, and I actually did end up passing that. So woohoo! We're cruising. I've got one more week at my current job at my ABA therapy company, and then I'll be switching over to the car sales the following Monday the 23rd of June. So I'm just super excited. Lots of changes, and kind of where I want to go at with this is this transition's going to be a little interesting, but admittedly, this next portion is going to be me talking a little bit about religion, about Christianity. And before you click away, before you swipe away, before you say, I don't really want to hear about this, I was in a position where I would mock religion, and I was not a religious person, and I was really against it. So for somebody that isn't, that doesn't believe in God or isn't a Christian or anything like that, I can still try to give something in your perspective. So I would like for you to still listen to what I may have to say. I can still kind of give, I was in your position before, so I just want to share that aspect. I'm not doing this to be preachy or to tell you to become a Christian or anything like that. And I know that sounds kind of backwards from what a Christian is supposed to do. So, I'm just it sounds weird. I don't know how I'm going to go about this exactly, but I just know that I've got pieces of information to share with you. I've got stuff to say and to share with you, and whether you're Christian or not, you can gather a lot from what I'm about to say. And so I hope that you guys enjoy that, and let me know your thoughts down below. Um, so so I guess I can kind of backtrack quite a bit to um where I was at with religion and what I said earlier about like mocking it and stuff. So Johnathan and I have talked about our schooling quite a bit on the podcast, such as Johnathan did not learn how to read until he was in the ninth grade, things like that. And the school that we went to, that in which he learned how to read and everything like that, was a Christian school. It was a Baptist school, actually. He started going there in the ninth grade. I actually started going there in second grade, so I got a much earlier start on my education than he did. And the schools I went to before that weren't really schools, to tell you the truth. But anyways, so I went to a Christian school from second grade to then seventh grade, and after seventh grade, the school ended up shutting down for a student and teacher relationship scandal. That's right. There's a lot of bad things that can happen at Christian schools. So don't get me wrong. I'm not here just to say that it's all rainbows and sunshine or anything like that, right? After that, I went to a different Christian school from the 8th grade to then the 11th grade. And then after that, I actually chose to switch schools to a public school. I'm the only one of my siblings so far. I've got younger sisters that will, but I'm the only one of my siblings to actually graduate from a public school. All my older siblings all graduated from the Christian schools. But, growing up, my mom was very religious. She pushed religion on us, which is why we went to those Christian schools. And as a child, I was very influenced by that stuff. And I wouldn't say like blindly believe that stuff, but I was very, very invested in it, right? And the other thing, though, is that Johnathan, my older brother, the other part of the podcast, if you did not know, is 8 years older than me. He's quite a bit older than me, but we still have a lot in common. Still really good friends, and he's a big part of my life and huge motivation. So thank you, bro. Appreciate you. We also have a older brother than that, Tyler, who's 10 years older than me. So 2 years older than Johnathan, or about a year and a half older than Johnathan, something like that, and 10 years older than me. So growing up, I saw my older brothers playing sports together. They played video games together, which was my biggest, where I envied them the most and everything like that. And I loved their relationship. I thought it was so amazing and everything like that. And I wish that I had something like that. My older sister, still 4 years older than me, which when you're growing up, like 4 years is a big age jump, right? So not saying that Sarah and I are not close or anything like that. It's just a little bit different, right? So looking at my brothers, I always hope for that. And, it is what it is. Well, we've also talked about my little brother, Noah, a little bit. So Noah is our brother that passed away. He was born with a condition that he was not going to live with, right? He was not going to live for very long or anything like that. My brain blocks out. I've tried to memorize it, but my brain blocks out the condition that he had. Anyways, so growing up, here's actually, like I said, a picture of us. I remember when our stepmom told us that she was pregnant and everything, and I was very thankful and praying to God that it's a little brother. Like, I would love to have a little brother. Please, I would love to have a little brother. And because I wanted to have a relationship similar to my brother's. Now, mind you, it's still, there was that big age gap, but I'm 8 years old. I'm not thinking about this stuff, right? I don't know what an age gap means or anything like that. But anyways, so, then when we found out that Noah was going to be a boy, we also found out that he had this condition. So here I am, 8 years old, aware that I'm going to have a little brother, but also aware that my little brother's not going to live, right? He's going to pass away. So praying to God every night. Please just, take care of Noah. Please just bless Noah. Please keep him safe. Please make him healthy. All that stuff. I'm praying, and I'm so hopeful and everything like that. And then he's born, and he's beautiful and adorable and everything. And, he still passed away, right? And it sucked. It was really hard for all my family members, and it was particularly hard on myself in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying it's harder on me than my siblings or anything, but it was really hard on me. And with it, I fell into that very common issue that people that have issues with religion have, and that's like, how could God let this happen, right? How could God let something terrible happen to a baby, or how does God let terrible things happen to good people? That type of stuff, right? And that's, as an 8-year-old, I basically threw religion out the window. So although I went to Christian schools for the remainder of my life, I still wasn't very religious, right? I knew the word, I knew the stories, I knew all that stuff, but I didn't care for it. I was just doing it because I was in school to do it, and that's what I had to do, right? That's a bold thing for an 8-year-old to make, right? So anyways, yeah, I spent that time from 8 years old until about 24 feeling that way, and I'll explain that change later. But um you know, there's been phone calls with my mother, who, like I said, my mother is very religious, and she's the reason why we went to Christian schools and everything like that. But I've had phone calls with my mom where, it was an emotional conversation. I don't remember exactly what started it or whatever, but it's emotional conversation, and she's trying to tell me to pray, and I've literally like thrown in her face of like, how do you know that you've chosen the right religion, right? There's hundreds and thousands of religions out there in the world, and you chose Christianity. How do you know that you chose the right religion, right? Everyone believes in their own stuff. Like, how do you know that you chose the right thing? Like, I have shoved it into her face, and I've mocked it, and I've also mocked it in, like, when I see it on social media or this or that, and like, I'm guilty of that. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm guilty of it. And when it comes to it, I was not afraid to, use God's name in vain, of saying like, gosh darn it, or whatever you want to say, right? I choose not to say that nowadays, but I would say that stuff all the time. And although I still cuss, I believe that cursing and cussing are slightly different in ways, but that's a conversation for another day. What I'm getting at here is like, I was not a religious person in any way, shape, or form. I was quite anti it. I didn't feed into like Satanism or anything like that, because anything related to demons or Satan or anything like that, I actually choose to stay away from it. That's been the way my entire life, because I still believe in like, what you consume, what you bring in affects you. So if you're welcoming the devil, if you're welcoming Satan into your life, whether you believe in him or not, that's going to affect who you are as a person. But same way, if you let your friend who's really toxic into your life, that toxicity that they bring is going to affect your life, right? So it's more so like just a psychological thing. So anyways, what I'm getting at here is Kirsty and I went to go see my grandpa and grandma out in Chicago, and it was an amazing experience. And my grandparents are also very religious, and with it, they they were, at the time, politics were up in the air, right? And everything like that. My grandpa, being a very right-winged man and a very religious man, was speaking his opinion on stuff. But being around them, they were still praying for before dinner, before breakfast, all that stuff. But also, my grandpa was saying points where he was saying that as God has left this country, as religion has left this country, as Christianity has left this country, that's when these bad things, or these I don't know how to explain it, but basically, as God has left the country, worse things have arisen. And I actually agreed with that. I strongly agreed with that. I believed that, of what he was saying. School shootings went up, but also there's other stuff that goes along with that. I'm not trying to get into politics here, but what I am getting at is that he said this. He was showing to me in a certain way that made me realize that he's not wrong. That I believed that. I was like, as God has left the fundamentals of the country, that's when things started to shift. And that just made me remember his presence, or remember his influence that he could have on someone's life. And even when I was somewhat religious or whatever, I believed in having a relationship with God. I didn't necessarily believe in religion. And a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people believe that Christians are the most hypocritical people in the world. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to believe that. It's a fact. It is a fact that Christians are hypocritical. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. But there are a lot of really good people out there in this world. I've Christy and I did start going to a church, and they welcome everybody, and they talk about it all the time. They welcome everybody, and I'm still getting to know them, still getting to know the people. But from what I see, they really do just welcome everybody. They don't care where you come from. They're there to just be there for you, be there to help you, be there to be a community with you. And they don't care about your background. You know, your story does matter and who you are matters, but it's not in a way for them to judge you. And same thing with one of my really good friend Keenan's dad is a pastor, and same thing. His dad, he would invite anyone to talk with him. I remember conversations he had with his kids' friends that were, part of the LGBTQ community, and they were questioning things about God. And he was like, I would love to talk with them. And it wasn't to convert them or anything like that. It was just that we'd be like, hey, I would love to allow you to ask me anything. I would love for you to have the opportunity. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to welcome you with open arms. If you want to talk to me, I'm here for it. But I should also take a step back. The friends of the LGBT community were asking to talk to the pastor, right? They were like, I would love to talk. Like, I want to talk to you. And he's like, yes, let's do it. I would love to talk to you. And it's not because they were trying to convert them to be hetero or anything like that. It was just to be like, yeah, if you want to talk, I'm here for you. And so there still are good people out there, but you're not wrong. For you as a listener, yeah. Religious people are very hypocritical. They're there a lot of them judge, a lot of them try to gatekeep you from being a part of it because you got tattoos or because of your past or this or that. And that's just, it's awful and disgusting. And so, that's why I'm trying to have this conversation to show, like, I'm here to show you, and I know that you're probably like, he's dragging on about his background or whatever it may be. But the point is that, I'm trying to give you a different perspective as well of either seeing it from a scientific standpoint or from a religious standpoint, whichever way you want to see it. I'm trying to give you something to hear in just a moment. But after my grandpa and I spent some time together, and I became, a little bit more, open to the idea of Christianity again or God again and everything like that. When I came back from that trip, I actually started praying every single day. I started praying on my drive to work. And it was praying for, kind of success, or like praying for God to be a good influence in my life. And I also was challenging God, which they don't necessarily, promote in religion or anything. And I believe that it's wrong, but it's more so that it's challenging God, like show me some signs. I need to see you in my life again, right? Because I wasn't feeling it and I wasn't sure. So all this stuff was going on in my head. But eventually, I started seeing changes in my life. And the science aspect of this is something I used to believe in heavily, was the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction, where if you talk about something, or if you meditate on something, or if you, are surrounding yourself by something, you're more likely to be attracted to it. Now, to be honest, that's my definition of it. That's not the official definition, I believe. I can have it up on the screen or whatever. But the law of attraction is basically like, if I'm thinking about something, or if I'm talking about something, I can start noticing it more, or the universe starts attracting it more to you, right? I strongly believed in this. I talked to my religious friend Keenan, where his dad's a pastor. I talked to my friend about this, about how I believed in the law of attraction over small stuff. I used to buy stuff from the thrift store all the time, where I would go to this thrift store called the Bins, where they would have, I'm not exaggerating by this number, millions of pieces of product, right? Millions and millions of different pieces of product in this warehouse that were all donated to this place. And they're just trying to cycle it all out, just trying to get rid of it, right? So they throw it into bins. There's thousands of pieces of product in this bins, and they rotate it every 45 minutes, that type of stuff. It's crazy how much stuff you'll see. And at the time I was living in this house, and I needed to get a toilet snake, one of the metal snakes that you put in the toilet to try to get some stuff out of it that may be clogging it, right? I was like, man, I probably need to get a toilet snake. I'll keep an eye out for it. Kid you not, that day I go to the thrift store and there's one there. Out of millions of items that get cycled out every 45 minutes, here I am going into the thrift store, and I find this item that I was hoping to find. What are the chances? To some people that may not sound crazy or anything like that, but I believe that was the law of attraction at that time. I was like, that's like, I thought about it, I was thinking about it, and then here it is, like, showing up. And that's not the only time that that's ever happened to me. That's the most prime example I have in my head right now, but that's not the only time it's ever happened to me. Another one is like if you or your friend, family member, whatever it may be, buy a car, or you hear someone talking about a car. Now, when you're driving around on the road, you start noticing it, right? Yeah, if you see someone has a Bronco or a Jeep or whatever it is, and you just get a Jeep, now you start noticing those Jeeps around because it's like fresh in your mind, stuff like that. So there's that way of thinking about it, that it's the law of attraction, or there's the other side of it where it's God who is that power in that universe, who is that person that is trying to help you out, who is putting you in that position of timing or whatever it may be, right? Because if you believe in him, you believe that he's all powerful and omnipresent and everything like that. So he's able to kind of influence you in that way, right? And so as I'm praying every single day, and I'm praying for success or praying for whatever it may be, right? I'm asking God to put those opportunities in front of me, to put those changes in front of me, right? And to see them coming true was amazing. And so, with all these changes in my life, right? When it comes to me getting this new apartment or this new job or whatever it is, I've been really praying on it, really spending the time with God and thanking him for the amazing things that he's done in my life, but also asking him to go ahead and bless me in every way imaginable, right? And what I'm getting at with all of this is whether you believe in the law of attraction or whether you believe in God or a higher being that you can pray to, it is phenomenal to set goals and to meditate on them, right? To make those goals and pray on them. There's a saying I've heard years ago. I don't remember who said it, but they said something along the lines of, let's say you take the world's best, the world winning, the world champion archer, right? Bow and arrow archery. He's won every competition for the last 5 years. He's amazing. He's the best to ever do it, right? We take him and we take me, who's shot a bow in my life maybe 20 times at a target and barely hit it, right? Let's say we take world champion and Benjamin Buckhouse and we put them in a competition together and they go head to head, right? We're both looking at the targets. Who's going to win? Probably that world champion, right? Well, let's say we blindfold the world champion. Okay? I've got a bow and arrow. He's got bow and arrow. He's blindfolded. I can see the target. He can't. Who has a better chance of winning? Maybe now it's me, right? Maybe now I've got the better chance of winning. Okay, what does all this mean? What I'm getting at is you can't hit a target you don't have. You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't hit a target you haven't set, right? So how do you expect to reach your goals? How do you expect to reach your desires in this world if you haven't even set them, if you haven't written them down, if you haven't decided that that's what you want, right? You can't hit that target until you decide to set it as a target, to see it, to visualize it, right? So you don't know, behind me, that corkboard looking piece, that's my dream board. On there, I have the vehicle I want. I've got the fitness goals I want, the esports organization goals that I have. I want to get a home that's on there, and a gym in my home. I am setting those targets because I know that I can't hit a target if I don't talk about it, if I don't dwell in it, right? So if I'm not taking that time, personally, the way I see it is if I'm not taking that time to meditate and pray on it and to spend time with God, to then, number one, show my gratitude. It is so amazing to be gracious and show your gratitude towards things in life, because it makes you realize how lucky you are, right? Especially myself, I'm a white male in America that's not homeless. I've got a lot to be thankful for, but it's also really easy for me to complain and bitch and moan about all this stuff, right? So for me, spending that time with God is a great time for me to realign my goals, right? To focus on my goals with my wife, with my family. I pray for my family every single day for their growth. I pray for them for some of my family members are looking for jobs. So I'm praying for them that God presents an opportunity for them to find a job, right? I'm setting a goal for them that they don't even know that I've set, right? And whether you believe in the law of attraction, whatever you believe in religion, there's power in speaking. There's power in writing down. There's power in meditation. There's power in prayer, right? So just take a moment to breathe and to be thankful for what you have, and also to realign your focus to your goals, right? And to ask for whatever being you believe in that you are hoping that, or to ask them for the power or the opportunity to achieve those goals, right? Something that my friend Keenan spoke with me about. Once again, Keenan, I'm spoke on Keenan a couple times. He's probably my most religious friend. Once again, his dad's a pastor. He himself is also a man of God and everything like that. Him and I spoke a while ago, and he said that when he prays to God, he sees it as he's asking God to put those opportunities in front of you. God is powerful. God is amazing. He wants you to succeed, but he gave you free will. He wants you to choose that. He wants you to choose him also. He wants you to choose to be successful. And he talks about that in the Bible as well, of like lazy hands will bring you to poverty, right? So he talks about how he wants you to be a productive person. He's not just going to give you success, but he will give you the opportunity to succeed. And something that I've been struggling with a little bit lately is waking up super early in the morning, right? Johnathan and I naturally film our podcast at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, right? That's easy for me to do when Johnathan's relying on me, but when I'm by myself, it is difficult to wake up that early. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's difficult to do that, but I'll pray on that. I'll ask God to bless me, to help me wake up early and everything like that. And in the morning, I'll wake up when my alarms are going off, and I feel some type of pressure or this want or this thought that comes into my head where I'm like, I need to get up. And for somebody like myself where I struggle with that, like struggle with waking up early the way that I want to, or things like that, it feels like a higher power. It feels like God is he's giving me that opportunity to be like, I need to take control. I'm going to go wake up, right? Or when it comes to, asking God for the desire, or like I'll pray to God that I want to have my esports organization be successful, right? I pray to bless my esports organization. Well, then I'll be going through my day to day, and all of a sudden I see an opportunity where it's like, ooh, I can make a video about that. Would that idea have come to my head naturally? Possibly, but also by me praying and meditating or speaking it into the universe, whatever you want to say here, by me thinking about it, it made me have that idea and been like, I need to take action on this because I'm talking about what I want. I want to have a successful esports organization. I want to have a successful YouTube channel. So by me talking about it and me praying on it and meditating on it, when that opportunity comes up, I feel this pressure. I feel this want, this desire to take action onto it, right? And whatever you believe in, I believe that it's God saying, here's an opportunity. You've been praying for this. You've been asking for this. Here's that opportunity for you, right? Here's this opportunity for you to shine, or here's your opportunity to be successful the way that you want to be, the way that he wants you to be. I still have to put in the effort to take it, right? He's not just going to give it to me. I have to put in the effort to take it. I have to realize his presence. I have to realize this higher being presence is telling me to take it, right? And I don't know, like it's been an amazing thing lately for me, of all the amazing changes that are happening in my life, right? I'll pray that I want to have a new higher paying job, and here I am getting that higher paying job, or praying for a better living situation, a safer living situation. Here I am moving into theoretically a better and safer and bigger place for my wife and our dogs, right? And praying for opportunities to be thankful, right? I pray that I become a more thankful person. And then here I am. I see a small opportunity for me to talk to a coworker of mine, just to be like, hey, I appreciate you. And I see that opportunity. And instead of being like suppressing it or anything like that, I see it as an opportunity that God has presented to me, and I take it, right? So for you non-believers, or if you're not wanting to hear this or whatever, you're able to see it that other side where it's like, by you meditating on something, by you speaking to the universe, that law of attraction for you if you believe in that, right, it's very powerful. Whatever it is, that being, whatever it may be, it's powerful. You're able to take advantage of that, but you have to set that target first, right? You can't hit a target that you don't have. You can't hit it or take advantage of an opportunity that you're not asking for, right? So if you're a religious person listening to this and you're hearing this, you may be like, I mean, this guy's telling you to be Christian, but also not be Christian, blah, blah. It's because I understand my audience. I understand my platform, and I don't want to come off as preachy. And I'm sure I did. I'm sure I came off as preachy. And if it was too much, please let me know down below. I have been asked to talk about religion, so I saw an opportunity and I took it, right? Once again, somebody spoke in the universe. Somebody asked me to talk about religion, and I took that opportunity. I found an opportunity and I took it, right? So, I'm sorry if I came off preachy here. I'm sorry if this is not the podcast that you were hoping for. I know my audience, and my goal is to, yes, spread the word or whatever it may be that you want to do. But my goal is to be a light in someone's life. And whether they know it's because of God or not, I want them to see that I'm different and I make changes in my life. And yeah, God's the reason why. He really is. My life has changed drastically since I've welcomed God into my life. I'm going to be honest. And that's so cliche to say or whatever it may be. Mind you, I want to say 3 years ago, I was on the phone with my mom mocking her about religion and talking less than 3 years ago, like 2 years ago, I was doing that. I was being a very, very sinful being about that. But I also know that God forgives me, right? Especially when I ask him to forgive me for that. Because I know that at that time, that's what I needed to say. But that's, I'm a changed man. And so anyways, I'm just here to try to be a light in your lives, trying to motivate you, inspire you, whatever it may be. I hope I did that to you today. I hope you learned something, whether you're a religious person or not. Maybe I sparked the idea for you to think about it, right? Yeah. I just want to say a lot of amazing things have been changing my life, and I hope that you saw that today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did, please drop a like. It means a lot to us. Comment down below. Join in the conversation. Call me out. Don't call me out. Join the conversation. Ask me more questions. I want to hear from you down in the comment section below. This was episode, I believe, 61. To be honest, I'm a little lost with the podcast uploads. I think we're in episode 61. But anyways, we will see you guys next week with another episode. Peace.